What makes this an interesting entry into the Knight Rider story is KITT having an out-of-body experience in the most literal sense possible when he and Michael are compromised and he is extracted from the car body with his CPU being left behind. I think this is where the audience have the same sympathy for KITT as the characters do within the story. We all think of KITT being this invulnerable, heroic, and unstoppable force that is always there for his friends in their time of need. And to see him humbled in the worst way possible, where he is just reduced to operating from a portable TV set, of which he describes as feeling like a booby prize at a Halloween party. And in some weird way, Michael is humbled as well, as I got the sense that because he got so used to relying on KITT to point out if they were low on fuel and needing directions, that he did not pay attention to when Devon's Mercedes convertible was out of gas. Some might see that as him unintentionally taking his partner for granted. Your interpretation may vary. Adding to the mix was the safety and well-being of a young boy who just happened to be a very talented computer programmer and hacker that was seduced by Adrian's charm into using him for what she needed. I think it was appropriate in Michael's description of referring to her as a regular Black Widow in the context that Margot would dispose of Randy Merritt once he had served his usefulness to her. This wouldn't be the last time this season where Michael would have to work out of his comfort zone, as he would have to get by with what he had in Ring of Fire, when he would have to operate with a compromised KITT again when they're cut off from Devon and April. Randy is basically a good kid, as described by his mother, but very impressionable. That's a reflection of some kids in life. You can get boys or girls that are good people, but just very naive into helping the wrong crowd. They have seemingly good intentions, but in reality they'll just use the kids for what they want and then wash their hands of them afterwards. It's sad, but it does happen in real life. As to how accurate and possible KITT was able to activate the passenger eject function with limited power is up for debate. Not being a computer programmer, it's not for me to say, but from the perspective of the story, it serves as a nice dramatic effect for the last act. As for acting, Anne Turkel, and this is an important notice, don't ever call her Turkel, it's Turkel. Anne Turkel, who guest starred as Adrian Margot, really impressed me as this sophisticated, sultry, and articulate femme fatale that commandeered the Trans Am body from Michael and KITT with the intent of stealing art collection from a former lover up to the value of $10 million. There is something quite deviously charming as her portrayal as Adrian, to where you're repulsed yet charmed by her at the same time. And that's not an easy combo to pull off, and I have to say that she did this in spades. Hearing Daniels portray KITT with this very distressed tone of panic from being extracted from the Trans Am was impressive, as up to this point we had always heard him with confidence and the fearless attitude of wanting to help others. Listening to KITT with this delivery of dialogue of being unsure of himself and worried about ever returning to his body was humbling, yet impressive that Daniels was able to deliver. This was also a useful experience for David to portray Michael to act well under even more pressure. True, the character of Michael Knight has always responded well to uphill tasks and assignments, but this occasion called upon him to act even calmer and more confident despite being out of his comfort zone as well. As mentioned with the writing, Michael to some degree had taken his partner for granted when he and KITT had the car taken away from them. He was having to rely on his wits more when KITT was not able to point things out to him like he would normally be able to. I do like the ending of the episode with Michael teaching KITT more of the human side with playing a little hooky when Devon is calling upon them to work and hearing the Trans Am feeling joy from being a little rebellious in going to pursuit mode and turbo boost without sufficient reason. For this week's score, Don delivers as only he knows how, especially with the siren song-like piece at the beginning that leaves Michael in a trance which allows Adrian and her young accomplice in being able to commandeer the Trans Am. And here come them discrepancies. Oh boy. And for continuity, when Adrian hears the Studebaker approaching, she looks down the road ahead and through a gap in some trees. She sends Randy and a henchman to deal with it, and they drive off, clearly down a different stretch of road as there are no gaps in trees or other vehicles visible on adjoining roads. When the armoured bus is hijacked, the vehicle is in motion. There is a cut to the two security guards inside who are discussing the red light going on. The reflection in the window clearly shows that the vehicle is not in motion. The next time you see the bus, it is still in motion. Oh boy. And for a revealing mistake, KITT's laser is used to cut through the exterior of the armoured bus. Views from the interior show cutting from outside. However, once a hole has been made by the laser, the beam of light should carry on into the compartment, as there is no longer any metal to prevent it from doing so. I love this show, but when you see the warts and all later, you think, oh dear. Overall, this was the first of 4 episodes from the 3rd disc of Season 2 of what contributes to the best that Knight Rider has to offer, and why Season 2 stands firmly as the best of the original series. It sets up the scenario of our heroes being compromised and having to think out of their comfort zone, and not only stop an armed robbery, but freeing a teenager from the clutches of a devious villainess, but also regaining the Knight Industries 2000's body, making him not only whole again, but the whole team whole again. In summary, a douche heel goes to jail for a robbery, a boy goes back to a quiet, wholesome life, and Knight and Car ride off into the sunset with another win for justice. Good night from the Knight.